Now we have their website up. So at this point we need to choose the type of web hosting that's going to meet our needs. They have standard web hosting, cloud hosting, WordPress hosting, and other options. Now WordPress hosting sounds like what we want to use, so we inherently will click into here and we immediately see some pretty friendly prices. Their starter plan at $5.95, step up from that also $7.95, and then their business plan $9.95. Now what I find interesting is that if you go into their standard web hosting as opposed to their WordPress hosting, the prices are almost half that. For their hatchling plan it's $3.95, baby plan is $5.95, business plan is $5.95. However, if you scroll down, you'll notice that one of the things that the standard can do is WordPress hosting, and it's no additional cost for you to install WordPress. So why would anybody choose to pay more? Well, you wouldn't unless you didn't know any better. So we're going to be picking between these three plans. Now we need to decide which of these three plans best meets our needs. If you're a WebYoda student, for example, you probably only need a single domain right now. If you're a company and you only have one website, one company, single domain would work for you as well. The domain is basically the name of your website. So if you have multiple companies, you're going to need multiple websites, you're going to need multiple domain names. So for a company, for example, like Sears, they might need two domains, one for Sears.com and one for Craftsman.com, which are both going to the same place, but they would still be different domains. Secondly, if you're a company but you actually own multiple companies, need multiple websites, then you want to look at the baby plan. Now the business plan is for people who are running anything where you're doing online sales, or you're going to have any kind of login thing where you have to have private information. And to do private information, it's a requirement that you have a private SSL, so you're going to have to step up to this model. Now in our case, for what we're going to do, and most people, the single domain is going to be just fine. But the nice thing is that anything you buy into, you can always upgrade just for the difference at no other penalty. So we can start here and then later decide, hey, we want to do something different than that. We can go ahead through their system and give them a call and they can upgrade it at no problem at all. Also, these prices are assuming you're doing 36 months, 3 years. Well, that's why they can offer you such a great price. But a lot of people don't want to make a 3-year commitment. So what we're going to have to do is decide what's going to be in our best interest. In this case, we're going to use the hatchling plan. We'll click on sign up now. Now we're ready to start the purchase web hosting process. The first section in this is choosing a domain. Again, the domain is the access that you use to get to a website. For example, Hostgator.com, WebYoda.com, eBay.com, Sears.com. Those are the names that allow you to access the hosted area, and you're going to be required to have a name, so we either had to have already purchased one and we could link it to our account, or we're going to purchase a new one. If you're a WebYoda student, you might just pick something that's your name, or if you have a website in mind that you're going to build for a friend or a nonprofit organization, you could pick something for them. If you're a company, you're going to want to pick a web name that's relative to what your company is. In this case, we're just going to pick a generic name, choose-your-domain.com, and if you click to the right of the domain, it will tell you if it's available or not. In our case, choose-your-domain.com is available, and it's $15 a year. Turns out we're going to be able to save you a little bit extra on that $15, bring it down to around $12.95 with a coupon code we can apply later. Let's scroll to the bottom. And as of right now, it looks like they want to charge us $216.08, and really thinking that's a little more than we're looking to spend today. So let's look up and see what's going on here. 36 months. That's probably longer than we're going to want to commit to right now. Also, there's a bunch of add-ons. Between those two, it's the bulk of the extra money that's being added here. I think we can avoid some or all of that with some reductions above. So let's go see what we can do to bring that down. If you scroll up to the top, just below the domain areas, is this thing called Domain Privacy Protection. Now we're going to uncheck that. Now when you originally see this, you're like, Domain Privacy Protection, sounds like something I need, I don't know any better, I'll just pay it, it's only roughly $15 a year, no big deal. But it turns out that when you pay for that, if somebody does a search for the domain to see who owns it, whoever protected it for you, their name shows up. If you choose not to pay this fee, then it'll show up as you're the owner. I'm not too concerned that somebody knows I'm the owner of a domain name, so I'm going to save myself the $15, but it's up to you whether or not you want to save that fee. Let's scroll down now into the hosting area. We're on the hatchling plan, which we wanted, but they've got us down for 36 months. Now, 36 months may be more than you're looking to commit to, and it turns out that anything above a year, and they're going to give you a really good break on it. Anything below a year, and it's going to be the same amount per month. You have to just decide how long you're really looking to commit to this. Now, in our situation, if you're a student, then you probably want to go month to month, and at any time you can move this up the scale. So for now, we're just going to pick 1 month. Now, if we scroll to the bottom, now we're down to $52.89, so we're definitely making some progress. Now let's scroll back up to the additional services area and see if we can make some progress here as well. The first item is protect your site from hackers, and it's highly recommended. Of course, they want to make some extra money off of you. Basically, we can turn this off. You got to remember, they're in the hosting business. They're in the business of protecting themselves from you from yourself, and you from hackers. So whether or not you're paying them a fee, they're going to make sure that things stay protected no matter what. This is basically a highlighted system that gives you a little quicker information, be more informative if something goes wrong, but they're going to bring it to your attention and they're going to resolve the problem either way. Next, there's the choice of getting an email where you pay $5 a month to have your own professional email account. Turns out once you have a hosting account, you can set up as many emails as you want for free, so it really doesn't make any sense to pay a fee to have one. And the last one is this item where you can go ahead and for $2 a month, basically almost $25 a year, they'll back up your website on a daily basis for you automatically. Well, if we turn this off, two things happen. First thing is they're going to back it up for you weekly, whether you ask them to or not, automated, no problem. And from within your system, you'll be able to do manual backups yourself. So I think this is a luxury that we can avoid. So now we scroll to the bottom, and we're at $25.95, so we've definitely made some progress now. Turns out we can just do a little bit better than the $25.95. If we scroll back up, we'll notice there's a coupon code field. And right now it has one of their default coupon codes. They'll have different ones that could be in here. There might be other ones that pop up on the website. This one in particular is a free upgrade 3. The 3 stands for if you wanted to upgrade to 3 years. So at any time you wanted to upgrade 3 years, you use this coupon code and they're going to give you a really good price on 3 years. Since we're doing month to month right now, obviously that didn't really benefit us very much. Now, WebYoda partnered with HostGator.com, and as part of that partnership, we're assigned 2 promotional codes. Those 2 promotional codes will do 2 things for us. One, it gives us a really great discount on everything else that we've already saved on, and then those coupon codes also generate funds, and those funds are donated to the WebYoda Foundation. Now, in turn, the WebYoda Foundation takes 100% of those proceeds and provides discount and free training for students all over the United States and all over the world. So it's a 2-part win. We get a discount as a win, and then students all over the world benefit from the proceeds from those through the WebYoda Foundation. So if you think you're one of those students who could use some discount or free training, give WebYoda a call, contact them, and plead your case and get yourself some discount or free training. Now the first code that we can use from WebYoda is Save 25% 2018. If we click on this, we'll notice that our price goes down just a small amount, and part of that is because it's only 25% on the hosting amount. It's not on the domain name, because they have a fixed price on domain name because they're actually getting that from somebody else. But if you decided to do the 1-year plan or the 2-year plan or the 6-month plan, you'd get an additional 25% off of what the discount prices you saw above were. The second code is Host 1 cent 2018. When we validate this one, you'll notice our price drops dramatically. So basically it's half what their promotional code was going to give for this same thing. So it's a really good promotional code. In this case, basically we're getting our first month for 1 cent, and then we'll pay month to month after that. So again, our choices are Save 25% 2018 if you want to save 25% on your whole order, and that would be for longer deals. And then for our purposes, Host 1 cent 2018. We validate, and it gives us $12.96, which is almost half of what we were going to pay before. So it's really exciting, and it's going to be the best price we can get at this point. As it turns out, I'm going to be able to save a little bit more on the $12.96, and that's only because I happen to own the domain that we're going to use for this project. So in my case, the option I need is the I already own this domain. So if you already own a domain, you would click here, type in your domain, and then click to the right. Now what's neat is that the webdesigntrainingschool.com is the website that's going to house all the training that we give away for free. And what's interesting is that we're going to learn how to build the site that's going to house the courses that we're going to be giving away for free. So how that plays out should be quite interesting. So now we're ready for the final step, and that is to pick a username, give a PIN, put in our credit card information. So first, inside of the Choose Hosting plan, I'm going to pick a username and pick a PIN. And then I'm going to enter this off the record, obviously. You'll want to enter your own information. You can choose credit card or PayPal. And then when you get down to the bottom, you're going to need to click I have read and agree to these terms. They won't say anything until you agree to them. And then we're ready to hit checkout now. Okay, our payment is complete. And now we're just waiting for the site to set itself up. It just has this little section right here that's telling us, hey, I'm in the process, I'll be done soon. And there it is. Our hosting purchase is complete. Our setup is complete. Welcome to the HostGator family. Alright. So now we need to gain access to our hosting account. And to do that, the first step is to go to your email account. And what you're looking for is an email from HostGator. Oh, and there mine is, conveniently. And inside that email, the things of importance to us are the control panel, which this is how you actually get to your hosting area, your username, and your password. So we're going to copy this password to the clipboard because it'd be really hard to remember. Click on our control panel link, and then you're going to put your username here, and then paste your password in, and then click login. Now at this point you're into your hosting account and you have access to all the goodies they have to offer you. The first thing we want to do, though, I recommend coming up here and choose password and security. And I want to give ourselves a new password, one that we can work with, one that's familiar, but one that's still very secure. So the first thing you do is paste in your old password, and then you need to choose a new password. Now this password needs to have a strength of at least 25 of 100, and as you type it in, it's going to tell you how strong it is. So I'm going to pick a new password. Mine is a strength of 78, so that's pretty good. I'm going to confirm my new password, and then I'm going to click change your password now. At this point, they're going to want you to log in again. Type in your new password. And you're up and rolling, but now you have your own new password. To install WordPress, you first need to visit your HostGator control panel. Once there, look at the very top for popular links, and inside of that is a link to build a new WordPress site. This is the link that will take you to the area where you can install WordPress. First thing you need to tell it is what domain to use, and the pull down will reveal the one that you purchased. No directory is needed, and we can just click next. Alternatively, we can let the pros do it and spend lots of money. I think we'll just click next. Now we're going to enter our website title, or in WordPress is also known as your blog title. For us, it's going to be Web Design Training School. Your username can be any username you want to use to log into your HostGator WordPress account. In my case, I'm going to use the same one that I use for my control panel to minimize confusion in my world. And then you're going to enter your first name and your last name. And then the email address you want all the correspondences about your WordPress install to go to, your admin email, in this case me. Automatically create a new database, we want that, so we leave that checked. We need to accept their terms or agreement, so the install button shows up. And now we click on install. The install has started. And the install is complete. Now at this point we're ready to log into our newly installed WordPress. Our username is the one we gave it, and our password is this complicated stuff that we're going to copy to our clipboard. And now we just click on Login, and it'll come to a WordPress login screen. You're going to put in your username and the password you pasted. Click Login. Now from here, the first thing we're going to want to do is change our password to something that's more reasonable. So we're going to click on Users, and we can click on our account or edit it, and then scroll down, and there is a place to generate a password. When we click on Generate, it's going to give us a fancy complicated one again, and what we want to do is put one that's easier for us to remember. And then we click on Update Profile, and now our WordPress is fully installed. With our WordPress freshly installed, there's still a couple of things we need to install before we can actually start working on our website itself. The first of those is the WordPress theme. The theme is the overall look and feel of your website. Now there's plenty of themes out there for sale and plenty of them for free, and without any WordPress experience it can be a pretty daunting task to determine which one is best for you. To help us with our cause, we're going to go to WebYoda and see what they recommend. So let's go to the WebYoda website, go to Courses, Free WordPress Courses, WordPress Hosting and Install, Install WordPress Theme. Now if we scroll down, we'll see there's a section about the Vantage theme offered by Site Origin. Now the Vantage theme is a really good theme if you're looking to build responsive websites. A responsive website is a website that changes depending on the device it's displayed on. So for example, if you look at a website on a computer, it'll look different on a laptop, it'll look different on a small screen, a large screen, it'll look different on a tablet, it'll look different on a phone. So basically a responsive website changes to meet the needs of whatever the screen device you're looking at. The Vantage theme is also one of the more flexible WordPress themes available on the market, particularly in a free version. And by flexible, this means that lots of plugins will work with it without conflicting with each other. Many times you can get a plugin that'll work with some and not others. Well, Vantage stays very proactive. If a new plugin comes out that's very popular, they'll make sure that their theme is updated to work with those different plugins. Furthermore, the Vantage theme has a lot of extra bells and whistles built into it. That means that you won't have to install as many plugins because it does a lot of things on its own. At this point we're ready to download the Vantage plugin. To download it, we're simply going to click on this link. It'll download a copy to our computer, and in most cases it'll be in a folder called your download folder. With our Vantage theme downloaded, now we can go back to WordPress and install it. So go back to our WordPress, look down for Appearance, click on Themes, click on Upload, Upload Theme. Now we're going to choose a file from our computer, and notice it's in the Downloads folder. We'll choose the file, click Open, and now we're ready to install. And this little spinny thing is telling us it's installing. We'll wait for the install to complete, and now it says Theme installed successfully. Now we activate that theme. Now once it's activated, if we scroll down, a lot of times you'll notice right at the top it'll say there's a new one available. We go ahead and click on Update Now, and basically Site Origin is making updates on a regular basis, so even though the one that we downloaded was pretty fresh, they had a newer one out, and there's always going to be available a link for us to check and make that update on our own. Now with our theme in place, now we need to look at installing our plugins. Now the first step in installing plugins is to go to the plugins area, and for us, we're going to delete all the plugins that were already put there. These could be good, some of we may use, some of we may not, but we want to start with a fresh start and using just the plugins we need and not have any extra stuff. So the first thing we're going to do, if we click this box here, it checks all of them all the way down. Now in the bulk actions box we can choose deactivate, which basically turns them off, and we apply. So now they're all deactivated. It's not possible to delete them until they've been deactivated. Now we can click this checkbox again, which selects them all again, and in the bulk actions box, choose delete. Click apply. Okay, yes, please delete these for us. And now we have successfully deleted all the plugins that were originally installed. At this point, we're ready to install the plugins we are going to use. So let's go back to Web Yoda, go back to their courses, free WordPress courses, WordPress hosting and install, install WordPress plugins. Now when it comes to plugins, there's literally thousands of plugins to choose from out there. And for our sample site, we're only going to end up using 7 of them. And there'll be a lot of other things you may want to add to yours as well, but these are a really good starter kit. The first one of these, the Black Studio, is basically a visual editor. It allows you to do a lot of stuff without a lot of experience in HTML and stuff like that. The next one is for building contact forms. This one's a really good one for duplicating pages so that you can have additional pages without having to recreate everything. You just make a copy of the most recent one. This allows you to do a really fancy slider. And these two are ones that are accessories for the site origin Vantage theme that we're using. And then our social media one is going to allow us to put social media buttons on our website without having to work real hard at it. Now in the same way we downloaded our theme, we're going to download each of these plugins so that we can later go back and install them into our WordPress. So one by one we're going to click on each one of these, and you'll watch it will download down over here, and download. Just do each one of these until you have all of them. And it's showing they're a little bit behind, they're waiting to get done, and so you want to make sure that they've completed their complete download before we go to the next step. Now we've downloaded all of the plugins we're going to use for this project. To install our plugins, we're going to go back to our WordPress, click on plugins again. At the top is an add new button, and we're one by one going to add each one of these plugins. So we'll do upload plugin, choose file, and we'll choose the first one at the top, and open, install. We have to do this for each one of them, and activate plugin. Now we'll add a new one, upload plugin, choose file, our second one, and install. Activate plugin. Ready for number 3. Add new. Upload plugin. Choose file. Pick our third one. Open. Install now. Activate plugin. Add new. Upload plugin. Choose file. Pick our fourth one. Open. Install. Activate plugin. Add new. Upload plugin. Choose file. Now we've got 3 more. The one at the bottom is our theme that we already did. So we're going to click on the duplicate page. Open. Install now. Activate plugin. We got 2 left. Add new. Upload plugin. Choose file. Contact form. Open. Install now. Activate. Finally, add new. Upload plugin. Choose file. Our last one. Open. Install now. Activate plugin. Now we have installed and activated all of our plugins. Now just like we did with the theme, we're going to want to update our plugins. Now notice over here under plugins, anytime you log in, if there's any of them that need to be updated, there'll be a little number here and tell you that it's available. In our case, we can just choose all of them, bulk actions, update, apply, and it'll one by one update them for us. And the last one. Now we have all of our plugins installed, activated, and updated. When working with WordPress, it's important to know how to log out of your WordPress, then later to find your WordPress again, then log back in. To log out, simply move your mouse over your admin name, choose Logout. It asks you, are you sure? Choose Logout again, and now you're logged out. To log back in, you simply go to your domain name. In our case, it's webdesigntrainingschool.com/wp-admin and hit enter. Now you come back to the WordPress login, put in your username, your password, and click login. Now we're back to the dashboard for your WordPress, which is basically the main page. One of the nice things about WordPress is that you can go to any computer on the planet and log in and make updates and changes on the fly. Now that our WordPress is installed, as well as our theme and plugins for our WordPress are installed, now we're ready to get started on our project. The first thing we're going to do is review the sample site, or the default site that was created when we did all the installations. At the top left, this is the name of our website. Now if you hold down on the Control key on Windows or the Command key on a Mac and then you click this link, it'll open up your website in a new tab. So this is the default website. Now the reason why I like having two tabs is in this tab we're going to make the updates and changes to our website. In this tab we can reload and see the results. Now the sample site is very basic. It's a front page with minimal information on it. It has the meta slider that we installed, and you can click on the little arrows to make the pictures rotate faster, or they'll rotate on their own. And then it also has a sample page, which also just has a minimal amount of information on it. And we can click back to the home page. Now I'm also going to open up a tab to look at our sample site, the one that we're building. Basically we can use this as a reference for being able to see the progress we're looking to make. So we're going to take this site and we're going to make changes to it, and we're going to end up with this site. Now we're ready to make our logo. And to do that, we're going to go online to a website called Logo Maker. Now notice that Logo Maker is missing an E, so you have to purposely misspell it to get here. Now it comes up asking you for a name, and if you put something in there, all it basically does is put a piece of text in the middle of the screen, which is really not important for what we're going to try to do. Over here, this icon allows you to view all the logos they have available, and you can click on the different categories to look at different ones and see what different kinds of choices they have. You can also type in a specific word like beach, for example, or medical. For our purposes, the one we're going to use is going to be found under design, and we're going to choose this logo. Now one of the first things you want to do to give yourself plenty of room is to grab this and move it as far right as it'll go, and grab this and move it as far right as it'll go, but just over these three tools. You don't want to accidentally cover up those tools because we're going to need those. That's going to give us as much room as possible to work with. And now we're going to move our logo over to the left. Now down in the bottom left is a play button, and if you want to know anything and everything about this product, you can go down here and watch their videos and learn about it. We're basically going to go over the basics of what we're going to need for doing our project. First we're going to look at the text tool. In the text tool, when you click it, it always comes up in the middle of the screen, which can be annoying sometimes if you already have text there. Now we're going to also enter some text here. Now once you have some text, if you click outside of it, then you're able to grab onto it and move it around. Also, if you grab this little curvy thing, you can spin it around. And if you grab it right there on the corner, you can make it go upside down, right side up. You can also change the size of it to make it bigger or smaller. Next, while you have it highlighted, you can change the color by going around the wheel, and you can change how deep the color is by changing it in here. Furthermore, if you know how to work with hex codes, you can actually type in your hex code. So for red, it's, for example, FF0000. Oh, too many Fs. Now let's take a field trip. We're going to learn quickly about hex code. If you use Google as your search tool and you type in hex color in Google, it comes up with Google's fancy little tool for picking different hex colors. Now the hex number is this number that's right here. And basically, if you change the color, that number changes according to it. And you change it up here, it changes as well. So you could basically figure out a color you wanted. Let's say we wanted that color. We can copy that color, and then we can use that color somewhere in a website. For our purposes, let's close that tab. We can come down here and type in that number and notice that our text turns that purple. So that's just an example of how you could give a hex code as opposed to moving it around and using this. Other thing you can do is there's plenty of different fonts to choose from. These are the categories of the font. So like Fancy, for example, would yield all of these different types of ones. Handwriting yields all these different ones. And just Simple and Modern yields these. And for us today, we're going to use this font. Let's go ahead and delete the font that we had there. And now we're ready to add our text. So we're going to click the text tool, and we're going to write web. And I clicked outside, and now I can control the size of this by grabbing the edge. And then I'm going to move it up here for now. Text tool again. Notice how it keeps coming to the same spot. Design. Click outside. Grab the edge to make it. Oop, I went too small because then it started shrinking it. Put that up there. Text tool again. Training. Click outside. Grab this edge. It's really good at helping you line stuff up. You see it puts these little markers and everything. Text tool again. Click outside. And obviously we can move these again later if we need to. Text tool. Now shrink this down. Now I can grab a couple of these just by highlighting a portion of it using our mouse and our button. So I can move them around if I want to organize things. And that's how you create the text itself. Now another way of controlling text color is by using the eyedropper to use colors that already exist. In our case, we're going to theme our whole website using these colors. So for example, I'm going to highlight all of this, and then I'm going to use the eyedropper, and I'm going to choose this yellow. And when I click on it, it turns this yellow. And it also puts this code down here. And I'm going to keep a note of that code because we're going to use it later. Next, I'm going to click on Outline, and I'm going to tell it an outline of 4. That's basically going to put an outline on the outside of our letters. I'm going to select them again, choose Outline, eyedropper, and now I choose the same yellow again, and it made the outline of it yellow. That gave the effect of making it bold. Now I'm going to choose just a portion of the word design, so it selects the word design. I'm going to use the eyedropper and then choose the orange. And I'm going to select just a portion again, choose outline, eyedropper, orange. And finally I'm going to do the same thing on the word school. Select a portion of it so it's selected, eyedropper, orange. Again, I'm writing this number down as well so I can use that later. Select a portion of school so it's selected, online, eyedropper, orange. Now I have all of the text, the colors that I want to use. Now I want to do some final positioning, so I'm going to select these two and move them down just a little bit. And then I'm going to select all of them and move them next to our logo, like that. And now my logo is pretty much complete. And at the bottom right corner, if you haven't covered it up with this guy, is your crop tool. When you click on that, it automatically crops pretty much to where you want it. But if you want, you can shrink it down just a little bit to get it a little bit closer, or maybe give you a little bit more room. And once you have it all exactly the way you want it, hit enter and it crops your logo, and you have your finished logo and it's cropped. Now we're ready to save our logo. To save it, you click on the save button. They come up with two choices. You can either buy a high quality version, which you might really want a high quality version for doing different things, and it's really reasonable, $19. Or if you're willing to give them credit, it's not going to cost you anything at all. And so you can just click on download, and it'll download a copy. And then when you go and look at your download folder, it'll be sitting right there. Now what else is interesting, if you scroll down, there's a little link down here at the bottom. If you highlight this link, copy it to the clipboard, save this for later, you can come back in here at a later time to that same link, and they have saved, they have preserved your logo for you, so you can use it at a later time. So if you decided later you needed it for something, you wanted to actually purchase it, you need to make a change to it, they've made a saved copy of it, so that's a pretty nice feature. So now we have our logo. Now we're ready to add our logo to our website. Notice how it has the background equal to what the menu bar is. Turns out the logo we made has a transparent background, so this is going to work out just fine. Now this is the site we're working with right now, and we're trying to get to here. Now from our dashboard, we're going to go to Appearance, Customize, and inside of here, the first item is Theme Settings, Logo, and now we're going to select a logo. Now we currently don't have anything in our media library, so we're going to go to Upload Files, and we're going to select Files, and from our download folder, there's the logo we just made. Once that's uploaded, it's already checked, we can just choose Image, and it adds it to the very top. Don't worry about it being too big right now. We also want to constrain logo height. That's already checked, so we can leave that way, just like it is. Click Publish. Now we want to back up, go down to Layout, and down here under Masthead Layout, put Logo in Menu. All of a sudden it's starting to look good. Hit Publish, and now our logo is in the menu. And if we go to our site and hit Reload, there it is. Now we're going to build the images that make this section right here. If you notice how they glow in and out like that. To do that, we're going to go to a website called Unsplash. At first we've got to find our background image, and they just have an insane amount of images. Now the first thing that's of interest, if you go right here and you go to License, it says all photos published from Unsplash are free to use. Basically you can use it however you want, but you can't download them all and sell them to somebody else. So we know it's okay to download from here and use them. Then you find a category you're interested in. Let's say you wanted something to do beach scene wise. Notice there's 6.5 thousand of them. And if you saw our initial video on best web hosting, there's the picture we found for that. For this site, we're going to use something that it looks more like a sunset. So I'm going to do sunset orange as my search. And there are 10,000 to choose from. And if you scroll down, you can continue looking forever trying to find what it is you're looking for. In this situation, I already found the one I wanted here and I downloaded it, so it's sitting in our download folder. But if you're interested in one that you see that you want, basically you hover over it, and down in the corner right here allows you to download it, and it gets downloaded to your download folder, and then you're ready to use it. So in our case, we've already downloaded the one we need for here. Now that we have our background image to create this section here, I want you to notice how it starts out. It goes dim, medium, bright, medium, dim, medium, bright, medium, dim, medium, bright, medium. Basically, there's 4 pictures that we need to create that illusion. To build these pictures, we're going to go to a website called PicMonkey. And once that site loads, we're going to choose Edit a Photo. And then over here, we're going to Open New and click Computer, and that way we can pick the picture we downloaded. In this case, the orange sunset that I chose. Now, PicMonkey is a very powerful tool. It really is nice for an online editor compared to a lot of stuff that's out there. Clearly, we're not going to go through all the features. You're only going to see the features needed to make this particular example, but it'll be a lot of information to help you in the future for you to do your own. Now we're going to check the text tool. Click on that. And I want to add text. Now what I want to use this franchise font, and you'll see if they've got lots and lots of fonts. I'm going to choose the franchise font. Choose Add Text, and in the box I'm going to type Web Design Training School. And then on the edge of these, it's a little tougher to get to. Well, let's go ahead and make the size bigger first. Let's say 200. When you grab the edges, you can stretch it out to get everything to fit the way you want it to. These guys kind of get in the way. Let's say we want it right there. Now we want to do another box of text, but this time I'm going to use the Bada Boom. Oh, wait. Add text, then choose Bada Boom. And then we'll put text in the box. And then we'll come over here, and let's say 150 this time. And then we'll select it, and then tell it, because it wants to know what it is that wants to be changed. Now I can go to the edge of this box, stretch it out, stretch it out. These tools aren't as easy to use sometimes as you might think. I'm going to put this down here for a second. But it's still, once you play with it a little bit, it works pretty well. Then I'm going to paste the same text again that we just did. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to tell it to be 150. And I'm going to stretch it out. Like so. And remember the yellow we had from before? I'm going to turn this one that color yellow. So that's the code for that yellow that we saved from the previous step we made our logo. And now that text is yellow. Now let's get this guy out of the way. And the idea is to position it where I want it at. Now the order that I made these in, this is first, second, third. And these are layers. If you look at this little layer thing, it shows you these different layers. And what happens is if I choose this one and I drag it up, it sits behind the other one because it was made earlier. Now in the Layers tab, you can move these around and it'll sit on top. But we want the other one on top for a reason. And close that Layers tab. If I zoom in a little bit, you can do that here, or you can use your little wheel on your mouse. I can grab this layer and drag it under and make it look like a nice little shadow, like so. Now when I zoom out, it has the look that we're looking for. Now at this point, I want to go to the settings, And then I'm going to choose the crop tool, and I'm just going to drag this edge to the right, or to the left, this edge to the right, and then apply. And now I have the image that I want to save. Now, PicMonkey used to be a completely free product, and unfortunately, very recently they made a change. So when you click on save, it won't allow you to save without starting a free trial, and after that they start charging you for it. So everybody got pretty frustrated because you used to be able to save stuff for free. But fortunately, people quickly found a solution, and one of those is just to copy the screen and then save your image. Now obviously it's not the highest possible resolution, and having a membership isn't that expensive, but just for the demonstration we're not going to buy a membership. So the first thing I want to do is make this fill the space as much as possible, and the zoom guy makes it bigger or littler, but this little square here makes it fit perfectly on the screen. Now at this point on Windows, I can use my search tool to search out the word snip, and it comes up with a snipping tool. And then I click on New, and now I can pick this image like so, and it snips it, and now I can save it. So we'll do Save As, and this is my regular. So remember, there's dim, regular, bright, regular. So our second image is going to be regular, so I'll save it, and then I'm going to File, Save it again, and our fourth image is going to be regular. So our first is going to be dim, our second regular, our third bright, our fourth regular. Keep that in mind. So now we're done for the moment with the snipping tool. Now we're going to go to exposure, and we're going to change the contrast down to like -14 or 15. It's tough to get it to sit just right. So now there's our dim version. Now we're going to go back and search for our snip tool again. Bring it back up. Click New. And we'll select this. It's an art to get it to select the same every time, by the way. File, Save As. This is our dim version, so this will be number 1. Now we'll close that. Now we're going to do our contrast in the other direction to roughly 15. Close enough. And one final time, go to our search tool, snip. That comes up, click New, select it, and File, Save, and this is our bright version, and this will be number 3. So we'll now have 1, 2, 3, 4, and we can close that. Now if you're using a Mac, you can also screen capture and use the graphic program on there to crop off exactly what you need. But one way or the other, you should be able to screen capture and get the image without having to pay a fee to be a member of theirs. I'm not discouraging being a member, I'm just saying there are other options. Certainly this is a great product, but if you already have a product for doing something like that, why spend extra? So now our logo or our cover photo is complete, and we've got them all saved. And we can leave. Okay, now we have all 4 of these images created, so we're ready to use them in our meta slider to make this look like this. So let's go back to our dashboard. We'll go down to meta slider. And since we've never used this before, we're going to click New to create a new slider. And then we're going to add a slide. And now we don't have the images to do this, so we're going to pick Upload Files, select Files, and we're going to pick our 4 capture files that we made and choose Open and wait for those to finish loading. And for whatever reason it looks like it's loading more than 4, but I expect when it's finished it'll just show 4 of them. Let's just see what happens. Okay, so there's the 4, and we can add those to our slideshow. and then we watch them over here. They'll grab one by one populate here, and now they're in our slideshow. Now you want to make sure that these loaded in the order that you wanted them. So this one looks dim, medium, bright, medium, or dim, regular, bright, regular. And if for some reason they were in the wrong order, you can grab them and you can move them around. But ours seem like they loaded in the right order, so we'll leave them like they were. Next, you can add captions for the pictures, and you can make a URL so they're clickable. So if you had different pictures, each one of them could be clickable to a different thing. Now in this example, we're going to make the width 1080. We're going to make the height 400. And notice these little arrows on the left and right? That's so that you can click to the next picture. But on ours, we don't have those. So we're going to turn those off. Also, these little dots here tell you which picture you're looking at. So if there was like 6 or 8 pictures, it would show you which one is the highlighted one. See how it changes when you go between the pictures. Again, we don't have those dots, so we turn those dots off here, just so you can see how these settings affect stuff. Now under Advanced Settings, this hover pause says if your mouse is on top of the graphic, don't let it rotate. Well, we want to choose to turn that off because we want our images to pulsate in and out with colors whether or not the mouse is on top. Next, the slide delay, this is how much delay is in between the pictures. So it's showing this picture for 3 seconds, and then it'll go to the next picture for 3 seconds. We don't want it to take that long. A little over half a second will do for us, and 300 or 3,000 milliseconds is 3 seconds. 500 milliseconds is a half a second. We're going to go a little bit more than half a second. And then how fast do we want it to go between images? So I'm going to say 50, really fast. And we'll hit save. Wait for the little spinny thing to go away. Okay, now it's saved. And now our meta slider is ready to use. The next step is to add it to our site. So to do that, we're going to go to Appearance, Customize, Theme Settings, Homepage, and it says Demo Slider. That was the original one, and ours is the new slideshow. We'll pick that, and it puts ours in there. We pick Publish, and now we come over here, and we hit Reload, and look at there, we're making progress. Good job. Now we're ready to fill in the rest of the information for our main page. It turns out this is just the default for WordPress and not actually the default for the Vantage theme. If we come back over here and we go into Pages, notice that our home page is in draft mode. If we click on that, we'll get to see what it's going to look like when we publish it. It shows that there's these 3 separate areas on one row, and then a full row with something, and then a bottom row with 2 separate areas. Let's just publish this and see how it looks different. Come over here, hit Reload. Actually, I think we need to go into Appearance, Homepage, and turn this guy on. I think that was the trick. And hit Reload. And now it shows the 3 areas, 1 full wide area, and then the 2 areas in the bottom. Now we're not actually going to use these areas. We're going to make all of our own. Just for consistency, I'm going back to Pages, click on Home Page, and you'll see there's more options over here in this mode. So for us, we're going to actually delete all this so we can start from scratch. To remove a row, you come over here on top of that tool, and then you pick Delete. Are you sure? Yes. And to get rid of the next row, we go on top of this, hit delete row, are you sure? And then finally for the last row, on top of that, delete row, are you sure? And now we have no rows. And before we actually click update, we probably should add a row because WordPress might get mad at us if we have a home page with no rows in it. So right here we can add a new row. Let's click on that. And our row, we're just going to make it one column for now. Insert. And now we're going to put a widget inside of that row just as a test. And we'll just pick the text. And then we're going to click on that. And we're going to type hello world. Now we can hit done. And now hit update. And our new row is in place. So now if we go back to here and hit reload, we see hello world. Now we're ready to add additional content to our home page. And so let's look at our sample site first. We're going to have an orange row, and it's going to have 3 different sections on it. And each one of them is going to have the same widget in it. There's a circle with an icon in it. It turns out this is the circle icon widget from Site Origin. So let's go back up to our edit page. And right now we have a row with a single widget in it, and we no longer need this one, so we're going to delete the widget. And now we're going to edit the row, and we're going to make it, instead of just one cell, we're going to make it 3 cells, so it'll be 3 columns across. Hit done. And now to choose which hole you're going to put something in, you can select it and highlight it. In this case, we're going to put a widget in this one first. And we're going to click on the add widget. And in this case, we want to use the circle icon. Now this collection of widgets is the collection that made available because of the plugins you installed and because of the ones that potentially came with the theme that you installed. So the more plugins you add, the more options you would have here. So we're going to click on circle icon. And when we click on the name of that, it allows us to edit it. Also, if you click on edit right here, it'll allow you to edit it. So both of those will take you into the same area. Now notice we have a title, text, and an icon. So let's see how those relate. This is our title. This is the text associated with it, and this is the icon, the WordPress icon in this case. So we're going to come back over to here. We're going to put in our title. Now we'll put in our text, and then we'll choose the icon. Just start typing the WordPress, W-R-D, and WordPress shows up. Now let's hit done and update to see what it looks like. Come back over here, hit reload, and now we have this widget here. Now notice the difference. This one has a URL at the bottom where you can click to go learn more. So we need to add that feature. So go back to your edit page. Go back into edit your circle icon. And at the bottom is the more text and the more URL. And what that means is this is the text. And you can make it say whatever you want, and then whatever the URL is where you want it to go to when it gets clicked on. So go back to the edit page. We're going to enter our more text. Now we're going to put our URL. But in this case, since we don't know what the URL is going to be yet because we haven't built the subpages, we're just going to put the default for the website itself for now, and we'll go back and change that later. So let's hit done, update, and view our page. Hit reload. And so now it has all of the information. However, notice this one is yellow and has an orange background. Ours is black with a white background. So let's work on the colors now. The first color change we'll make is setting the circle widget link color to yellow. Now it turns out there are settings within WordPress to set the link color for the entire site, and we'll see how that works later. But in this situation, specifically for this particular widget, we want to be able to set a unique link color. So go back in and edit the circle icon. And on the right, it has a design tab. Inside the design tab at the bottom is links color. We can select that, scroll down, and we'll just choose the standard yellow. Hit done, and hit update. Now we'll go back to our sample and hit reload, and you see now that our color is yellow for our link color. Next we'll set the row color to the orange, and the orange is the one that we pulled from the logo and we saved earlier. So back to our edit page, and we're not changing it for the widget, we're changing it for the entire row. So we're going to go into the edit for the row, and under design there's a choice to set the background color, and we're going to paste in the orange that we had saved from earlier. We'll hit done. Now hit update. It's easy to hit done and forget to hit update, and then when you go back to review things you don't see the changes, so keep that in mind. And now we'll come over here and we'll reload the page. And now notice that the orange doesn't fill the entire area. There's a couple other things that we're going to need to set to make this happen. Let's go back to our edit area, and inside of the row edit we want to go to layout, and we want to stretch it. So instead of being standard, we're going to say full width. We'll hit done, update, and we'll review it. And now it goes all the way from left to right. Now we've got this problem with the top and bottom. Now the bottom is easy to fix. We'll come back into the row edit. Under layout, the bottom margin, that's the area that is white at the bottom, we're going to set it to -35, only because I know that's the amount to get rid of that space. We'll hit done. We'll hit update. Come back over and hit reload. And notice now there's not a white space at the bottom. Now getting rid of this white space at the bottom between two rows, if you've colored the rows, will be done the same way no matter how many rows you have. But getting rid of the white space that's just above is a little trickier, and it's only going to be in this one case where it's the top row. Basically we're trying to get rid of the space that's below here, but it's also possible to shift this up to accomplish the same goal. So we're going to go back into our edit. We're going to edit our row. In this case we're going to have to do something a little fancy, and once you know the trick you'll just remember to do it. Under attributes we're going to put in a little piece of cascading style sheets, CSS, and basically we're manually setting the margin top to that -35, which is going to squeeze out the white part at the top. As long as you remember to do this on the first row at the top if you're trying to have a colored row like this. And you hit done, you hit update, and now we go back to our design and reload, and now we've gotten rid of the extra white space at the top and the bottom. Now the final thing that's different is that this logo inside the icon logo is a different color, and this text is not as black as we have it over here. Notice how this is really dark black, and then this is a yellow icon. So let's come back over to our edit page. We'll edit the icon, and in this case we want to set the text color, and we're going to choose black, and that's going to set that text color to black. And then the other thing we want to do is set the icon color, and so the icon color is right here. We'll just choose the standard yellow. Now we can hit done, update. When it finishes the update, come back over here, hit reload, and now everything about this widget matches this widget, Now what we'll do next is really easy. We want to make the next two. But a lot of the work we've already done. So what we'll do is we'll make a copy of this one twice, and then we'll be able to edit each of those. Let's come back over here. And to make a copy of a widget, one of the options is duplicate. So I'll hit duplicate. Now I got 2 of them. I'll hit duplicate again. Now I got 3 of them. Now I can grab onto one of these, drag it over, grab onto one of these, drag it over, hit update, come back over, hit reload. Now we have 3 of them, and that was really easy to do. Now we just need to customize the last 2 to meet our sample. So in here, we're going to be changing the icon to a $sign, and we're going to change the icon to a present, and then we'll be changing the text on each of these. Let's go back in, we'll edit the first one, and we'll type in $. And now we'll want to change our text that's up here. In this case, WordPress hosting discounts. Now we want to change our text. Hit done, update, and we'll come over and look at it. And now we have the second one, but our icon wasn't the same one, so we'll go back and figure out which icon we are supposed to use on that. But you can see how easy, once you have a particular thing built, how quickly you can copy them and make new ones. So it starts to get faster and faster when you can recycle some of the stuff you've already made. So now we're going to go back into our edit mode, edit the middle one, and we'll try something else. Let's try money, for example. Done. Update. Come back over here, reload, and now we have the correct one. Now we just need to update the final one. So we'll go back and look at our sample. We're going to look at a gift, have donate now, and this text. So go back over, or edit the one on the right, choose an icon of gift, put our title text of donate now, and the text for the widget, hit done, update, reload, and we have all 3 of these done, and we're ready to go on to the next section. Now let's see what the next thing we need to add to our home page is. So we go back to our sample, we scroll down, and it's a photo gallery. So we'll go over to our edit page, and we need to make a new row so we can put in our photo gallery. So we're going to click on add row. This row is only going to have 1 cell in it, 1 column. Insert. And now inside of this, we're going to put a widget that's called the Visual Editor. And you'll find this very useful for working with pictures and links and text, particularly when you don't have a lot of HTML experience. It'll allow you to do all those things without any extensive experience in that area. So we add to the Visual Editor. Now we're ready to edit it. So I click on it, and it brings up our edit area. And now the first thing I want to do for my photo gallery is I want to put a header at the top, and then I'm going to center that header. So I'll highlight it and I'll choose the center tool, and now below that I want to put a photo gallery. Now this photo gallery will be whatever pictures you choose for your site. I'm going to use students that we already have that have been selected and approved for this site. So I'm going to go to add to media, and I've already added those, and so I'm going to select all of those. And now that I've selected them, I'm ready to create a gallery. At the top left, I can choose create gallery, and then at the bottom right, create a new gallery. Now our gallery is made. The default is 3 columns and thumbnails. I'm going to choose 5 columns because I had 10 of them, and we're going to decide to make ours large. You'll see they're not really large, but they'll look just about right. Now we can insert our gallery, And now we have our header and our gallery of pictures. We're ready to hit done, update. And now let's go see what it looks like. Our gallery's there. There's no background color yet, but notice that this is up into the orange area. So it looks like that when we set the margin on the orange row, we were a little too aggressive. So let's go back into the orange row, and that's this row right here. We'll edit that row. And under layout, instead of -35, it turns out that the default is 35. So in this case, we'll try 0. Update. And now when we reload, now it fits in there just fine. The next step is we want to set the background color to our default yellow that's in here. Now to change the background color for this row, we do the same thing that we did for this one. So we're going to go back into the editor, choose the row we want to edit, go in, click on Edit Row, and the first thing we'll look under is Layout. Now notice when you click on one of these, it opens it, you click on it again, it closes it, and that's true with all of these. So in Layout, we're looking for the row layout, and instead of standard, we want it to be full width. Also at the top, let's try setting our bottom margin to 0. And now we can close that section, and we'll go into the design section. And for the background color, we're going to use that default yellow we saved from earlier. Now remember to click on the outside like this, because sometimes it won't remember otherwise. And we'll hit done, update, and then we'll reload. And now we have the yellow background, but the white bottom, there's still a little bit of it here. So in this case we didn't compensate enough. Come back into the row, go to layout. Now we'll try the -35. So it turns out the bottom one on the last one is the one that needs to be -35. Again, just knowing where to make those adjustments is the important part, not having to go back and do trial error. If you didn't even know where to look, it would really be painful. So I'll hit reload, and now that's fixed. Now notice this text is not all the way black like it is over here. It's not the same font as it is over here, and it's not the same height as it is over here. But we're going to be fixing that in a later step. Now one final adjustment you may want to make to a photo gallery is the organization of the pictures. So for example, in this one, if we were to swap these two, then the whole thing would be a grid of guy, girl, guy, girl. So just for the sake of knowing how to do it, we're going to go back in to our visual editor. And then if you click on any part of the photo gallery, a little pencil shows up, and that allows you to edit it. Now at this point, if you hold down on any picture, you can drag it and swap it with any other picture. And so now we've got the guy, girl layout we were thinking about. Update gallery, done. Update page, reload, and those are switched. We're pretty much done with our photo gallery, but something about it's kind of bothering me, and that's the extra space that's between these. I want to try to get rid of that. So let's go back to our editor, go into our visual editor. We'll click on our photo gallery so we can get to the editor for that. And we look over here, there just doesn't seem to be any control that's going to allow us to set the spacing between those. So it looks like we're going to have to find an alternative. So if we close out of that, what I'm going to do is add some spacing at the beginning and the end of the visual editor to try to squeeze it and make it smaller. Let me show you how we're going to do that. We're going to go into the row edit,
We're going to make 3 cells now. In the first cell, we're going to make 10%. The last cell, we're going to make 10%. In the middle one, we're going to make 80%. Now we'll hit Done. And now we're going to drag our visual editor to the middle. So basically, we forced it to be smaller by putting some padding on either side. Let's update that and see if we got the result we were looking for. So we'll go back and look at our result, hit Reload, and I think that looks a lot better. Now, the last piece of content we're going to add to our main page is the social media here at the bottom. If you look at our sample site, there's social media buttons. You also notice that it says a site origin theme. Because we're using their free version, they're getting credit for it. Now, if you purchase their themes, not only would you have the option to get rid of this or change it, but you'd also get a lot of extra features with it as well. But as of right now, that's the only drawback, is that they get credit for the fact that they provided you with the theme. I think it's worth it. So now we want to add our social media buttons. And to do that, we're going to go back to our edit page. And one of the biggest secrets is, where do you find footer at? There doesn't seem to be anything obvious. Turns out if you go to Appearance and inside of Widgets, this is where you're going to find where you make a change to the footer. Currently we have nothing in our footer. We're about to add a widget to do the social media. On the left hand side are the available widgets, these 2 columns. And as we scroll down, what we're looking for is the social media widget, which is right here. We'll click on that, we'll choose footer, and add widget. Now it's part of our footer. Now we just need to adjust the settings, save, and we're ready to go. Now first, I really don't like the title on there. I just like to have the buttons. I think the title's a little overkill, so I'm going to get rid of that. The icon size, I prefer it to be bigger, so we're going to go with 64 instead of 32. We'll align these to the center, and then everything else for the defaults, we'll just leave them alone. Next, we got to pick our categories for social media. And notice there's a whole bunch of different categories, and inside any individual one, there's a whole bunch of choices. Now for this example, we're going to be using WebYoda and WoW Academy social media because WebDesignTrainingschool.com currently has no social media choices. So first we're going to use WoW Academy's Facebook, WoW Academy's Google+, WoW Academy's Twitter, and WoW Academy's LinkedIn. Next we're going to look down into the next section, which is images and video, and we're looking for YouTube. And we're going to use WebYoda's YouTube channel. Obviously, you would choose whichever categories that were going to work for your particular site you're doing. Now we've entered all our information. We can hit Save. Now if we go back to our site, see there's no social media. We hit Reload, and all of a sudden we have social media. Now one of the nice things is social media, seeing this in the footer, it's already on every page. So if we go to our sample page, and we scroll to the bottom, we see that it's on there. Now that we've pretty much finished our home page, it's time for us to start building the subpages. So if we look at our sample site, we're going to be building empty pages for all of these pages and empty pages for the sub drill downs on this. And then after we've created all the empty pages, we can one by one go add content to them. Now one of the first things you want to make sure is that the naming convention for your pages is set correctly. So if we go to the default page, notice that it's the domain name /index.php/sample-page. Well, I really don't like the index.php in there, so I'm going to make a change that's going to allow this just to erase that piece. So if we come back into our editing section, and on this bar over here we scroll down, you'll see a section called Settings, and then Permalinks. Permalinks is going to be where you can define which way the naming convention is going to be. So we click on that. And the one that we want is just post name. When we click on post name, it's going to allow it just to have this and not have that index.php in there. So we'll hit Save Changes, and now that's ready to go. Now we're ready to build our empty pages. So to get started, we're going to go to Pages, and we can do Add New. But before we do that, let's go ahead and delete our sample page because we're not going to need that. Now that the sample page is gone, now let's click Add New. Now we're going to use the Site Origin Page Builder option, so we're going to choose this. And that's going to bring up the option to be able to add our rows like we were doing before. The title for our first page is going to be About. And then over here, the template we're going to use is Full Page Width. Now let's add a row. And for default, we'll make it one width, one cell. We'll hit Insert. Now we'll choose that cell, that row, and we'll add a widget to it. And the widget we're going to choose is the Visual Editor, because that's the one we're most likely to be using. Now I'm going to edit that field, that widget, and just put some text here. Hit Done. Update. And now our page is complete. Notice that the naming convention is correct for the permalink. If we go back to our site that we're building and we click on the Home button, now you notice there's an About button, even though the colors aren't right yet. If we click on the About, we can see the sample page that we made. And there it is. Now we want to build all the additional pages. And so we're going to have courses 1, these 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more pages. So let's go in here. And one of the reasons why we added a row and everything is because this way we only have to do it once. So we're going to go back to Pages. And where the About page is, we're going to click Duplicate. And we're going to click this 6 times to make the 6 new pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm careful not to click to do a duplicate until the one is completed so the system doesn't get confused as it's generating the new pages. Now we're going to one by one change the names of these to match what the new pages are going to be. The first one we're going to do is this one. We'll click if you highlight this, it shows Quick Edit, and that just brings in for the naming convention for the little bits you're going to be changing in here. So the second page is going to be Courses. It would help if we spell that right. And then the slug is what the name of the page is going to be. So remember the other one showed up as /about/ at the end of our domain name. So the slug is basically what's the URL name for the page. All the other settings are already there because we set it when we made the initial page. But the difference is we're going to change it from draft to publish, which will make it currently active. And we'll hit Update. Now the courses page is ready. Now we're ready to do the next. So I'm going to click on Quick Edit, put in the new name for the title, and then I need to have the slug name, which is nice to pick slug names that are going to be search engine friendly, so when you can include a bunch of keywords in the slug name it makes the search engines like you better. And we're going to choose Published, Update, and now we're ready to do the next one. So we'll click on Quick Edit. This one's going to be Beginning WordPress. And let's change that to have a capital P there. Again, a slug that's friendly to search engines. And then we'll pick Publish, Update, and we're ready for the next one. So we'll click on Quick Edit, Testimonials. Put a little T for that. Publish. Update. Now we're ready for the next one. Quick Edit. Donations. Make a little D. Publish that page. Update. And ready for the last one. Quick Edit. Contact. Draft. Published, Update. So now all of our pages have been created. Now let's go look and see what our new menu looks like with all these pages generated. So go to our site we're working on, go ahead and hit reload, and notice there's a lot of stuff up here. It's not necessarily ordered the way we want it, and there's no submenu for courses. So there's a little bit of work that needs to be done. Basically, we're going to create a new menu that's going to have all this stuff working the way we want it to work. To do that, we're going to go back to our editing section, and under Appearance, we're going to go to Menus. And by default, it already had all the pages we were working on in here, and they're in some kind of order, and I'm not sure how it determines what that order is going to be. We can move them around, so it really doesn't matter. One of the things that's always strange is there always seems to end up being two home pages. So one of the first things you do is need to delete one of these, and it doesn't really matter which one it is. So you can click on it to expand it and then choose Remove, and that gets rid of it. Next, we want to choose the order that we're going to have things. So our home page is first, and then About. I want our Contact to be our last one, and then we'll have our Courses, our Donations, and Testimonial. Let's move our Testimonials up one. Now these two Courses ones needs to be inside of that course, so we're going to bring it in like that, and also bring that one in like that, and now there'll be subsets. Next, I don't want it to say Courses Dash on the actual name. If you look at the way we did it before, it just says the course name. It doesn't have the word Courses added to it. So if I come in here, I can change the name of this, and I can do the same thing for this one. Now we have all of them in order, and we have them saying what we want them to say. But let's go ahead and change this from saying home page. Let's just say home. Now we're ready to create a menu, so we'll click on Create Menu. And we can give it a name up here. Instead of Menu 1, let's do Main Menu. Now we can save the menu. Anytime we make changes, we save it. And now to make that the active menu, at the very bottom, you have to choose Primary Menu and then hit Save Menu again. Otherwise, it doesn't take effect. Now if we come back over here and reload, now our menu looks like the way we want it. We have our Home, our About, our Courses with our two subs under it, our Testimonials, Donations, and Contact. Now we've got our menu completed. Why don't we go ahead and fix the colors on the back of this? So to do that, we're going to go back into our edit area, and under Appearance, we're going to choose Customize. And then we're going to pick Theme Design and Menu. Now you'll see that there's a whole bunch of things that you can set that are associated with the menu itself. We're just going to set a couple of them that are important to us today. First, we're going to set the hover background, that's the color back here, to our yellow. And it automatically does this on the fly. And notice how it's not on the secondary level. So we'll come over here and do this one. It's quite neat how you can kind of see this in real time. Notice how the text is white. We're going to change the hover text itself. If you did black, it's really too dark. When you look on it, it just looks a little too harsh. So what you do is make it a little less than black. So we'll do all threes. And it makes it just a little bit softer. Let's look at it now. So it's just a little bit softer on the edges that way. Then we're going to go down and we're going to change the spacing that's around these button areas. So if you wanted these buttons farther apart, or you wanted the button bar to be taller or shorter, these are the two places you change it. Turns out these numbers look pretty good, but just for argument's sake, if you made this a 50, see, you get a really tall bar. I'm going to change it back to 20 because that worked really good already. And if we change this to 15, for example, it takes a lot of the space out. But because of the size of our text in the menu itself, The spacing on ours is actually pretty good, so we're going to leave it the same. But I think we'll go ahead and change the font size up to 15. That just makes it a little bit taller. Now, even though we see the changes here, they haven't gone live. So we're going to click on Publish, and now it's published. So we can exit out of here. Let's go over and notice it's still the old way. Reload. And now our buttons have the appropriate coloring to them. Now that we have our menus complete, including the colors, now let's go ahead and set our fonts, our font style, font sizes, font colors throughout the entire site. And to do that, we're going to go back into our Edit tab. Under Appearance, look for Customize. In Customize, look for Theme Design. And instead of Menu this time, we're going to pick Fonts. Now it turns out there's a whole bunch of fonts in here. And unless you know what they look like, it could be a problem. So we're going to do a quick field trip. And our field trip is to fonts.google.com. And basically you can go through, do searches, and scroll through until you find the font you're interested in. And then look at the name. So for example, this one's Anton. And then go back to WordPress and find that name in there and know which font you're going to be using. So it's a good reference to be able to come over to fonts.google.com. Now in our case, I already know what fonts I want to use. So for the body of the text, meaning most of the regular text for the whole site, I'm going to pick one. And then the site title doesn't matter because the site title is not displaying for us. But the header font and menu fonts, we probably are using those. So I'm going to scroll down until I find those. I'm going to use the same one for the menu that I used for that. And then the site title doesn't matter still, but what does matter to us is the page title. So now if we go over to our About Us, notice, by the way, what's interesting is these things still are updating on the fly, so now it's got the new font in there already. We go into the About section, and this is the page title. If we change that to 30, we immediately see it get bigger, so it's really nice to be able to edit like this. Next, our page color is going to be the orange that's pulled from here, we saved from before. Let's make our content size a little bit bigger, so watch Hello World. We'll leave our content color the same. I know it's not completely black, but it kind of makes it easier to read when it's a little less than black. And now we're going to look at the header sizes, or heading sizes. And I like to make these a little bit bigger than the defaults. We'll do 18, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36. Actually, let's do this 32, 30. Alright, I know it kind of seems arbitrary, but this natural progression actually allows headings that you're having pages to display a little bit larger than they were before. So now we can hit Publish. Now we're done with that, we can close that out. And let's go back to our page and hit Reload. Now when you scroll down, notice this is bigger than it was before, and it's in a little bit fancier font. Now what we ended up doing was setting the font for the entire site. So now if we go across all the pages, you'll see they're already all set. And that's one of the nice things about WordPress, is that you can do things across all the pages just like that. So now we're ready to start working on our content for our About Us page. Now to edit our About Us page, we need to go back to our editing area, go to Pages, About, and then we just click on Visual Editor, and we're going to make updates from within here. So I'll enter our text here, And now to make links, there's a number of different ways you can do it. First, let's pick the word courses. We're going to make a link to our courses area. You choose this tool, and then we just put the slug name between two slashes like that. So another place we could do that. Why didn't that work? I must not hit the right thing. I forgot to hit enter. We can do it across multiple words like contact us. Choose the link tool, / contact. Again, just the slug name. Make sure you hit enter so it takes it. And then here, this is actually already a domain name. But when we want to make a link to it, we have to do http://. And then finally, we could do an external link to the Web Yoda Foundation. So you have to go over and get that link, which is here, and go back in. This is highlighted already. Choose our link tool, paste that in, and hit enter. So now we have links across all of these. We can hit done, update, and now we can see how much progress we made. Hit reload, and you quickly figure out we forgot to set our link color, so we'll do that next. Now to set our link colors, go back into our edit area, and go to Appearance, Customize, Theme Design, General. Nobody knows why it's in an area like that. It's just seems odd to me. It's really tough to find if you don't know what to look for. Now for our link color, I'm going to pick something up here. Let's say something like that. And then for our hover color, I'm going to pick something more towards the red spectrum. And I'll hit publish and close that. Then you come back out here and you hit reload. Now when you hover across them, it shows you the other color. So now we've got that taken care of, but on our sample site we've got a logo over here. So we want to go ahead and get the logo. To get the logo, we're going to go to webmastercertification.com because I know they have it there. And under their Need Help section, what is your return policy? And there is that logo. So we're going to right click on that, save image as, and we'll save it to our downloads folder. Now we can close that, go back into where our edit page is. Now what we're going to do is we're going to edit our row to add an extra cell. And then we're going to drag it over and make it, we could make it exact if we want, 70 here and 30 here. And click done. Now in this block we're going to add a widget, so we'll highlight it and we'll choose our visual editor. And now we're going to edit, add media. And the picture is in our downloads folder, so we're going to go to upload files, select files, there's the guarantee, open. It's already selected, so we can insert it in page. And then I'm going to click on it. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I'll click done, update. Reload, and that is our About Us page. Now we're ready to create our courses page. So we'll go back into our editor, go to Pages, click on Courses to edit it, and then on our visual editor, and now here we're going to paste in the text we want in it. Now we want this to be a bulleted list. But when you click on the bullet option, it only puts one bullet there. So I'm going to do Control Z to undo that. Turns out, if you go to the beginning of the line and put an extra line in between each, and then highlight them, the bullet will work right. I can't tell you why it doesn't work right before, but this is the fix for that. Now, again, we got the WebYoda Foundation. We can make that a link. Come back over and get that link again. Hit enter. Hit done. Update. And refresh. And now we have our courses page, but we need to make these two clickable to their respective courses, in this case beginning WordPress and WordPress hosting. We'll come back over here, go into our visual editor, and we'll highlight WordPress hosting, choose it to be a link, put in our slug, hit enter. And then for beginning WordPress, highlight that, pick our link tool, /slug/, hit enter. Now I can hit done, update, go to our tab to view our project, reload, and now we have all of those links. And so if we click on WordPress hosting, it takes us to our WordPress hosting page. We click on beginning WordPress, it takes us to our beginning WordPress page, just as if we came in from one of these. Alright. Now just notice something. I really wanted WordPress hosting to be the first one up here, so we're going to quickly go in to Appearance, Menus, show you how easy it is to make an update like this. Move that one to the top, Save Menu, come back over here, reload, and now we've swapped those around. Now we're ready to build our WordPress hosting page, and that page will consist of some text, a single link, and then an embedded YouTube video. So we're getting ready to enter it here. Now to make these changes, we'll go back to our edit area, go to Pages, we'll choose to edit our WordPress hosting page. We'll go inside our visual editor, and now we'll paste in our text for the page. Now, part of our content has a link to the beginning WordPress course, so we're going to highlight that, choose the link tool, /, the name of the slug, /, hit enter. And then we can hit done. And now we're going to need a second row, because the second row is going to hold the video. So we're going to add a row, and what we're going to do is make this 3 sections, because we're going to do another trick like we did with our photos. We're going to put 10, 10, 80, and insert that, and then we're going to put our movie into here. Now to add our movie, we first have to add a widget in here to hold it. So we're going to go to Add Widget, up. Let's select the area we want it first. Add Widget, and we're looking for Site Origin Slider. It's right here. Now we're going to click on the Site Origin Slider, and under Slider Pages, we're going to click Add, and then under Frame, just click on Frame, and then it says Background Videos. We're going to click Add, and then where it says Video, we're going to click the word Video, and now it has a slot to put the video. At this point we need to go to YouTube, And we're going to do a search for Web Yoda. And then we're going to click the Web Yoda logo. Go to Videos. Find the hosting video. Click on the video. And then under Share, if you click that, it gives you a link. So you can copy that link. And then you come back over to here. And you paste that link in there. And then you click Done. Update. And you go back to your course. And in no time at all, we have an embedded YouTube video in the middle of a page. It's quite easy. Now we're ready to do the same thing for our beginning WordPress. So we'll go back to our edit area, go to Pages, click on our beginning WordPress course, click on the visual editor, and now we're going to paste in the content for this page. Hit Done. And now we add another row, just like we did before. And we're going to put 10, 10, 80. Insert. Choose the center one. Add widget. Slider. Edit the slider. We'll click on Add Frames, and then click on Frame. Add background video. Click on Video. And now we need the video, so we'll come back to YouTube. We'll back up. We'll click the other video. Click Share. Copy that one. Come back in. Paste our URL there for the video. Hit Done. Update. Go back to the site we're working on. Reload the page. And boom, we have that page done as well. Now we're ready to build our testimonials page. And on our site, there's nothing there yet. And on our sample site, it's got 3 different testimonials with a bolded heading, the testimonial for each, and the person who submitted its name to the right in italics. So we're going to head over to our editing area. We're going to go to Pages. We're going to load the testimonials page. And then we're going to edit our first block. I'll click on the visual editor. And we're going to add a special piece of code in here under our attributes for CSS, Cascading Style Sheets. We're going to put this fancy little piece of code. And all you need to know is that if you want to access it, go back to this spot in the course and just see exactly what it is again. Basically, the border radius says to make a little radius on the corners, 6 pixels rounded. For the content that's within the box, make a 20 pixel border around it for the padding. And then for the background, we're using that orange that we pulled from the logo. So if we hit Done, Update, and go look at our page, now our text is inside of that box. See how that works? Now because this text is inside of an orange box, we want to make it black. So we'll go back in, we'll edit our widget, and then under Design at the very bottom, we can put the font color, choose black, click somewhere outside of it so it remembers it, hit Done, Update, and reload. Now that we have one of these, we can copy it 2 more times and we'll have the 3 we need for our 3 testimonials we have. So let's go back in, and where the visual editor is, let's pick Duplicate, and duplicate again, Update, go back and look at our page and reload, and you can see that quickly we've got 3 separate testimonial areas just waiting for content. So now we want to go into our edit area, choose the first of the three, put our content in for that first testimonial. We want to bold the top line, so we highlight it and hit the bold option. We want to italic the bottom line, so we highlight that and choose italic. And now we want to send that to the right. Now we're done with that one. Now we can go into the second one, put our content in for the second one, bold the top line, italic the bottom line, send the bottom line to the right, and we've got 2 of the 3 done. So we click on the bottom one, enter our content for the bottom one, bold the top line, italic the bottom line, send the bottom line to the right, hit done, update, go back and look at our testimonials, reload, and our testimonials page is complete. Now we're ready to build our donations page, and so far we just have Hello World. On our sample site it shows a piece of content, the WebYoda Foundation logo, a Donate Now button, which isn't actually collecting any donations. It actually points to the WebYoda Foundation because they have the authority to collect donations there. And a number of links, these 2 going to the WebYoda Foundation and this one going back to its own site. And a bolded piece of text here. So let's get started. We're going to go over to Pages, choose Donations. We're going to click on our visual editor, put in our content, make the first line bold. We will highlight that domain name and click the link tag, link option, http:// hit enter. And then we want to make the WebYoda Foundation clickable. And we'll go back here, get that, put it in, and then we want to make the word visit clickable to the same place. And now we're done with that section. Now over in here we need to have space for the logo. So we're going to edit the row and make it 2 sections. And let's say make this one 70, and this one 30. Hit done. Now we'll highlight that one and add a widget to that box for the visual editor. And now we need to put the graphic we need, but we have to get the graphic first. Go back to the WebYoda Foundation, right click on the graphic, save image as. It's going into our downloads. Hit save. Now we can come back up here, click our visual editor in the box where we're going to put the graphic. Choose Add Media. Now we need to upload the file we need because it's not there yet. It's sitting in our Downloads folder. Select Files, choose that, Open. It's already selected, Insert into Page. Now it's quite big, so I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. Hit Done. Update, and reload. And so we've got most of the page done, except now we need to make the donation button. So we go back over to our editor, and we're going to add a new row to hold the donation button. And it just needs to be a single width row. Insert, and now we'll choose that, and we're going to add a widget, and the widget we need is the button widget, the site origin button widget for making buttons. And now we'll edit that button, and the text will be Donate Now. The URL is going to be the WebYoda Foundation. So we'll go get that again. paste it in for the destination URL. The icon we're going to use is a gift. Now it's a pain to look through all these, but it does have a search box. So we can just type the word gift and it found that. The icon color is the color of the icon itself. We're going to leave that alone for now. And under design and layout, it's going to be centered, which is good. The button color, let's just pick the orange that's the default orange. Hit done, update. And now let's go look at our page again and reload. And there's our donate button. But we really don't want that color. We want the color that's in our logo most likely. So let's go back in to edit that button. Scroll down, change the color of the button to our orange. Hit done, update. Back to the page, reload, and that matches better with what we've been doing. So our donations page is done. Even though we're done, a minor adjustment, it'd be nice if this logo was shifted down just a little bit so it kind of lined up with this. So we'll go in and make a little quick adjustment just so you can see how you could do something like this. We'll go into our visual editor and we'll put our cursor before the image. Just hit the enter key. It just moves it down a little bit. Hit done, update, go back to our site, hit reload, and it shifted it down. So it just made it just look a little bit better. The next page we need to build is our contact page. So right now, as you can see, we still have our empty page. And our sample site, it has a phone, email, has an address section, a message section, and a location section. We're going to build the empty orange areas first, and then we'll manually fill in each one of these. Let's go over to our edit section. It logged us out, so we can log back in. Also look over here, there's a plugin that needs to be updated. So let's go to the plugins real quick. And we'll just scroll down. And update now. And everything's happy again. Now we'll go to Pages, Contact, now what we're going to do is we're going to make a row that has 2 cells and another row that has 2 cells. So let's do that. This first row, let's make it 2 cells and then make them equal size. And in this case, we're going to use a different widget. We've been using a visual editor, and since this is our last page, I thought I'd give you a little bit of experience using the custom HTML one. And the reason that I want to do that is there's certain things we're going to want to do in this that's only going to work with custom HTML. And 2, I want you to have an understanding of how you may be able to do some of this stuff yourself. So now we're going to go in and edit this custom HTML. And we're going to put some text in here. And this has actually got a little HTML built into it. H2, this is an opening tag for a header. You remember we did our sizes for our headings 1 through 6. 1 being the largest heading and 6 being the smallest. So a 2 will be a little bit smaller than the largest heading. H2 opening tag says start doing whatever this command is, meaning it's going to make this text bigger. It's here. And then you have a closing tag, a /H2, that says okay, stop doing the header tag. So we're just going to put this one in here for now and hit done. Oh, wait. We're going to also go into attributes, because in the attributes, in the CSS styles, we want to put that little piece of code that does the curvy corners, that makes the little orange background with the round corners. And now we can hit done. Now, just out of curiosity, let's go back to our page and look at it. And what happened? A mistake that can happen to you. Let's make sure we hit update. Now go back and reload. And it's there. So this one's there. Now we want to make our other 4. And to do that, we're going to come back into our edit area. And we're going to duplicate this 3 times. We can drag one of them over here. Oh, we don't need to do that. What we can do is have 2 of them made. And now we'll come in here and duplicate row. Update. Just so you can see how this works, as long as I'm doing it this way. Reload. And now we have 4 of them. Now all we need to do is go back and change our text for each one of these as we go into them. But in our case, what we're going to do is we're going to complete each one of these one by one now that we've got the boxes. First box we're going to complete is the original phone email one. It looks like this. Now notice that the email and the phone number are clickable. Well, one of the reasons why we're using the HTML is that it wouldn't be possible to make the phone clickable with just a regular standard link. We got to do something fancy with it. And what we're going to do is put the codes in there that we're going to need to make it work, and I'll explain it briefly. But ultimately all you need to do is what the format looks like and be able to come back to this example to know how to do it in your own pages. So just below the header, we're going to put the code that's going to allow us to do the phone number, and below that the email. Now the way this works, this is just regular text, and then we have a tag that's what's called an anchor tag. And this anchor tag has href telling it where is it supposed to go, where is this link going to go. The A tag is basically a link tag. It has an opening anchor tag and a closing anchor tag. The link is supposed to go to a telephone number. Now again, I'm not expecting you to understand the HTML, but if you see this again or you want to use this, you literally could come into the example and do exactly what it says here, but just change the phone number to what you need. Now, the way that you normally go to a web page is http:// right? Well, with these links, you're doing a telephone link and you're doing a mail link. So it's mail to : and it's tel : and as long as you do this same format, you'll be able to make it work for you. So on the end of this, you have the closing anchor tag, and then after that is this BR tag, which stands for break, or line break. That basically does a carriage return to go to the next line, and then we see this line, and the carriage return makes another empty line down here. So this particular code is going to show a phone number, and it's making a link, and if you click on the link, it'll try to call that phone number. This one is going to display the email address, and if you click on it, it's going to open a box or open a thing on the screen to allow you to attempt to mail that out. So that's the brief description. Obviously, if you're really curious about HTML, you can consider going to webmastercertification.com, where they have courses on this as well. Now we can just click Done, click Update, and now we'll go look at our page. And that's the text we want. Now one thing that I didn't do is I didn't make my default color black. So to do that, we're actually going to have to do that on all of them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that quickly on each one so we don't have to remember it next time. So we want the font color to be black. Now here's a neat tool you may not have known of. Up here, if you do this arrow key, it'll take you to the next block. And then I can go down and pick the color, black, and now this will take us to the third block. Now it looks like the same one because these are all copies of each other, but when we get in here you can see that the font color needs to be changed each time. And when we get to the final block, this arrow goes away because there's not another one. There was only 4. You can only go backwards from here. We go Design and change our color into black. Hit Done, Update. Now we come over here and reload, and now this is black, as well as the text that'll be in all those boxes will also be black. Now we want to build our address area, so we'll go back into here, we'll click on the second box, and just below here we'll put the address, and where it says phone and email, let's just change that to address. And let's spell it right. That's also helpful. Notice again the BR tags tells it to go to the next line. A BR tag says to finish that line as well. So on that one we can hit done, update, go back over here and hit reload, and now we've got the address one done. So now we got the last two. The email one is going to require us to set up an email form. That takes a little bit of explaining, but they do most of the work for us, so it should be pretty straightforward. So to build our contact form, we're going to go over here to this option, click on contact, and this is one of the plugins we installed, that's why it shows up here. And then our initial contact form is this one here. We'll click on that, and we can change our name to start if we'd like. Now we'll scroll down, and this is the content that's going to create the form for us, the part that's actually going to display in our page. So for example, this is the text, your name, and required, notice, is just the text that's associated with it. Your email required, your phone required, subject, your message. Now if you look back on this, the phone one's not in here. So notice these two are required, and they say required, and there's not a phone one, so we're going to need to create a phone one. The other thing that's of interest is that this is just the text saying it's required. The way it knows it's required is you have a little asterisk next to it. So in between these two, we're using this as a guide. Basically, there's the email one, and then there needs to be a phone one, and then a subject. So here's the email, and there needs to be the telephone one in here. So I'm making some space in there, and now I'm going to click on this icon, and it's going to make a telephone option for us. And I'm just going to hit insert. And basically it created this part. Now over here, the phone number is supposed to be required, so we're going to make it required. Well, to make it required, we just put an asterisk right there. Now I'm just going to copy everything about the way this other stuff looks, just as a guide. So I'll put that on there. And now this will say phone instead. And the spacing of this probably doesn't matter. See how they've got extra spaces in there? But just for consistency, we'll make it look the same. So now we've added a telephone field in there. Now that our form fields are ready to go, now we need to set up what's going to happen when it gets to the server. So basically somebody's going to hit the send button, and the server needs to know what to do with this. Before we proceed, we need to save the form we've done so far. So we can hit save here, or we can save here. Either one of those does the same thing. Now we're going to look in the Mail tab. And the Mail tab tells the server what to do with it. First of all, it says, who do we want to send it to? Well, by default, it wanted to send it to the admin that we gave it. But we're really going to give it one that's associated with the website that we're working on. So in our case, it's comments@webdesigntrainingschool.com. In your case, it would be whatever website you're working on. Next, the from field. It turns out that the from field is required to be whatever your domain name is. So in this case, most developers will just put no reply here, which is not a real email address, meaning it won't do anything at all. But it will make the server happy by having this. And you say, well, wait a minute, the from is supposed to be who's sending me the email, and I want to be able to reply to them. Well, it turns out that's taken care of too, because down here in additional headers it says reply to your email. And if we look back, we'll see that in the form, the your email is the email address they've submitted. And so when the form goes to us and we get the email, that will be our reply address. So basically this is just a formality. So if you remember to follow this convention, your mail should work as well. Next is our subject, and I'm pretty happy with the subject, Web Design Training School, and then your subject, whatever they put in. And finally, the message body is what is the content of the email going to be. Now it has all the information that would have been in the original form, but it's missing the phone number. So we're going to come up here and we're going to copy the little tag that will allow us to do the phone number. And then I'm going to paste the phone number right here. So I'm going to type phone and then I'm going to paste that tag. And now the phone number will be part of the email that we receive as well. So now we've completed what we need to do with that. There's also two additional tabs here. Under messages, these are different things that you may want to set, basically error messages and things like that. I've always used the defaults on these, and additional settings will have potentially other stuff you may want to do. But for our purposes, you're almost always going to be able to just use these first two fields, the two tabs. So let's hit save. Now it's all saved. Now we need to go put the form into our page. And to do that, we're going to use this tag right here. So if you click on that, it highlights it. You copy it to your clipboard. And then you're going to go to Pages and the Contact page. And then we're going to go into the area that's going to be where we're doing our message at. And right here, we're just going to change this heading to say Message. And then just under that, we're going to put this special tag. Now again, because this is a custom HTML widget, we're able to put this custom stuff in there and it works just fine. You're going to see that in the location when we do that, it's the same situation. So not only is it kind of a requirement, even there may be other ways around it, it's also a good example for you of how the custom HTML widget might be useful for you. So we'll hit Done. Now let's go back up and see how it looks on our page. So we'll hit Reload. And you say it doesn't work. And that's because we didn't hit Update. It happens to the best of us. Now we hit Update. Now we reload. And there's our form. Alright. Now we're ready to add our location map. And to do that, we first need to do a field trip over to maps.google.com. And then from here, enter the address of the location for the map. In our case, webdesigntrainingschool.com. And there we are. And then we'll choose Menu, Share Embed Map. And in here, we're going to choose Embed Map. Where it says Medium, choose Custom Size. And instead of 800, let's put 400. And now we can view actual size, and that's what the size of the map is going to be. And that looks about right for our purposes, so we'll close that. If you click on the code, it'll highlight it, and you can copy it to the clipboard. And now we're done with that page. And we'll go back to our edit area, and down where the location is supposed to be in this custom HTML, we'll click on that. And we'll change the name to location. And then just below that, we'll paste the information that we got from maps.google.com. Now we can hit Done, Update, go back to the page we're working on, hit Reload, and there's our map. But notice it's not as wide as we want it, and it's not as long as we want it. Well, we did that on purpose because I want you to see how you can edit this. So we come back into the edit area for the map. And notice down here it says width and height. Well, we can change that. So we're going to put the correct height or width, and we're going to put a height that's a little bit too big just so you can see how this plays out. So we'll hit Done, Update. I'll go back to our page and hit Reload. And I knew it was the right width because I've already done this trial and error method in advance, but I want you to see that when you go the other direction, now it's a little bit long. So now we'll go back in one last time. And it turns out if you try this a whole bunch of times, you'll figure out that it's supposed to be 670. You hit Done, Update, and we'll reload it, and that'll be right. Now clearly it could take you a number of times to get it right, but it is possible, and now you know what the trick is to make it fit exactly the way you want it. Next we need to test our form just to see that it works. So we'll first put in our name, then our email, next our phone number, then a subject, and then a message. Now we're ready to submit our form. We hit send. Thank you, your message has been sent. So now we can go check our email. Oh, and there mine is. And the email has from Yoda, Hostgator at webyoda.com. Our subject was testing contact us form, phone number we submitted, and then there's the message body. So our form worked just fine. Good job. Now we're almost done, but we did have a little bit of unfinished business on the home page. If we go back to the home page, as you recall, we made these call to action areas with the circle icons. We didn't know what the links were going to be because the pages weren't created yet. So all three of these currently point back to the main page. However, now we do have a courses page, we have a hosting course page, and we have a donations page. So we can go back and update these links. Next, currently all these pictures are clickable to an area where you could enter a comment and things like that. But I don't want them to be clickable, so I'm going to show you how to turn off that feature. So to accomplish these two things, we first go back into our edit area. We click on pages. Go back to our home page. Now on your home page, you'll notice you've got 4 different widgets. And currently, when we're making a change, we'd click on a widget, make a change, and then click Done to get out. And then click on another widget to make a change and click Done to get out. It turns out when you got multiple widgets on the same page, it's possible to edit all of them without coming in and out so much. Let me show you how that works. We'll click on the circle icon. And at the top right, notice that there's a little area that you can't click on because you're in the first widget, and you got an area that is clickable that will take you to the next widget. So we're in our first circle icon. And at the bottom, we need to set our URL to the courses slug. And now that's changed, we can go to the next widget to the right, which is our second circle icon, by clicking that. And now it's got 2 arrows, one taking us back to the first one and one taking us to the third one. So at this point we want to change our URL for this one to the slug for our hosting course, which is that right there. Now we can go to the third circle icon by clicking here. And now we scroll to the bottom. And we want to put the donation slug in there, which is that. Now when we click to the right again, notice you can't click any farther because we're at the last widget, which is also the photo widget. So that's how that navigation works. Now once we're here, we can click on anything inside of that widget for the photo stuff and choose the edit tool. Now at the top right tells us the link to options. Currently it's doing the attachment page, so we saw how that looked. We could also make it a media file, so if, for example, you want it to be a larger picture than the small one, or none at all, which is what we want to do today to disable the links. So we click the Update Gallery. Now we're done with the widgets. We edited all 4 of those without coming out at the end. Update our page. Go back to our site. Wait for that to stop spinning, and hit Reload. Well, now these guys are no longer clickable, and these guys click to the correct pages. So that takes us to our courses page. That takes us to our WordPress hosting course, and this takes us to our donations page. So that's taken care of. We're pretty much reaching the end of this course. I hope you've enjoyed the course and learned a lot. I know I've enjoyed teaching the course material to you. I want to remind you that we have other free WordPress courses that should be available very soon, if not already. We're doing an advanced WordPress course, which will have lots of fancy plugins that do lots of bells and whistles of things that we weren't able to fit into the beginner course. We're also doing an SEO course, which is search engine optimization course. So if you want to make your website available and friendly to the search engines, you'll want to look into that. And finally, we're going to do a shopping cart course to show you how to add a real live shopping cart that uses PayPal to do purchases as well as credit cards All these courses, again, are free of charge. We'd like to thank the Web Yoda Foundation for funding all this to make this possible, because it's really nice to be able to bring these kind of tools to the general public at free of charge and get people engaged in this activity who may not be able to do it any other way. So again, I hope you've enjoyed these courses, and if you found this interesting, please go back to YouTube, search on Web Yoda, click into our videos, and then like each of our videos to tell everybody else, hey, these were worth viewing, and subscribe to our channel.